Achiri Victor. I'm a Cameroonian filmmaker, a film director, scriptwriter, and equally a teacher. I own a production company called AV Media, and I equally own a streaming platform called Daphnes, which is strictly to stream Cameroonian films. I live in Douala at the moment, and I'm also the president of the Douala Film Community. Basically, I got into the film industry out of frustration. Uh, I think it's strange, but I think after advanced level, I was playing football. I was playing football professionally, like third division. And I remember when I always go to trainings, when I come back, I'm bored. So I'm always in the house, which is always something that I did not like. So there was this day, a friend of mine came to me and I was in their house. So he said, please I should excuse him. He wants to go for rehearsals because I did art in secondary school. So, but I had no idea that okay, they actually do films in Cameroon. So he said he wants to go for rehearsals. So I said, rehearsals for what? He said for film. I was like, okay, I want to go with you and just watch. We went for rehearsals. I saw how they were doing stuff. The next day, I said, okay, I've made up my mind to be an actor. Let me go again to join you people. I went that day, and then we started the rehearsals, the training. I was excited because this is what I studied. I studied arts, literature, history, and all of that. So I was really happy to know that people do act films in Cameroon. I think that was around 2011. So that was how I became an actor. But like 2 years into acting and all of that, it was not really. I discovered it was not my thing. Basically, it was the first person that I joined his production company, Kapsala Michael of B3 Pro. That's my first ever boss when it comes to filmmaking. So as we were going, I discovered that I had more of directorial skills than acting because it was easier for me to take the leading role in the production company. We had a piece show at the time. So he saw that I could direct the show when he's not there. So that's how I became the director of the company. And then subsequently, he made me the general manager of the company. And then we had problems and we had to split. We parted ways in 2015. Then I moved on and created my own production company with my other friends that we left the company together. So we called it Braveheart Entertainment. So we were 7 of us. We came together, did our first movie in 2015 titled War with the Gods, and that's the first film I ever directed. And there was something particular about me. I'm obsessed with selling. And when we produced that film, deep down inside of me, I was like, okay, how do we get this film to be sold? Because I remember I always ask this particular question. I was a nobody in the film industry. Like I was just starting. I had made 2 years, but just as a mentee under somebody. So I was walking down my own path. So I was constantly asking these questions. So we shot that film in Bangui, particularly, and then we had to produce 2,000 copies, CDs of that film. I think we sold 700 in Bangui. We sold 700, and then the rest we took it to Bamenda. So when we got to Bamenda, because we did a lot of posts online to celebrate what we did, we were very happy. When we came to Bamenda, a couple of people called me to like critique for the film. So when they did critique, good enough for me. I was humble enough to hear what they had to say. And after taking criticisms from like 3 people, I was like, okay, this is not how to do a film. Like I cannot even play that film to anybody at this current age. That film, War with the Gods, is an example of how not to do a film. So, but it was a university to me because I was willing to learn. It taught me a lot. So I listened and we stopped selling those CDs. So when we stopped selling those CDs, I decided now to go back and learn again. But now my learning, I was incorporating my learning with how to sell my next film. Because I'm always about how do I sell this film. I've always been like that from 2011 that I joined the film industry. So I discovered that the cities were not going as we planned and all of that. Then African magic, all of that, it was far-fetched for me. So as somebody, as who I am, I must think the next alternative. So at sometime around 2016, I did a short film called Manka. It was an advocacy film against domestic violence. So we did that short film. It was well received. So I was like, okay, it means I'm learning. So now let me venture a feature film. We went to Lock to do a feature film. Sadly enough, the footages got missing. I think late Damas is a DP. He lost the footages and the film will never be released. So that really weighed me down, and then I went solo again for some time, trying to learn still. And then I had to do a couple of stuff for people that they don't have the drive as me to sell. Because, like I said, I'm obsessed with selling. So I did a couple of films with other people as a production manager, as a continuity person, as a director, but principally I'm a film director. So I did this short film in 2018 for SK Bronhida. She's the producer of the film. So the film was selected at AFRIFT, the African International Film Festival in Nigeria. So we went to Nigeria. I was very excited because I mean, when she contacted me, she said she wants to submit this film to AFRIFT. That was the objective of the film. Because I'll always ask, what do you want to do with this film? She said she wants this to submit this film with AFRIFT. Okay, when we did the film, and then AFRIFT finally selected the film. It was, I could not explain how I felt when I saw the selection message. Like I made my goal, I made my objective. Like after then, so how do I sell this film? I always have that question. That was we went to Nigeria 2019, and then we were supposed to go to Indonesia for the same film, but COVID came. So COVID stopped us from traveling to Indonesia with the film. So now I had to do another film now, which is my own production. Now I was doing this production because I had this streaming idea, and I had to test it with my own film. So I produced my own short film, Innate Torture, which eventually I used to launch my streaming platform, Daphlinks. We shot Innate Torture, kept Innate Torture. Then I went to Biggie 237, it's a reality show just like the Big Brother franchise. So I went there, I gathered some exposure. Shout out to the organizers of Biggie 237. The platform gave me the ability to move like 5 steps ahead of what I probably might walk slowly. It was easy to talk to some elders in the industry, to tell them about some stuff they listed. For example, Sir Nia Lene Menget was very helpful when I was trying to develop the whole platform and the whole Daphlinks idea. And then he eventually gave me Ni's Kitchen to launch this platform there for free. So without going to Biggie, probably I wouldn't have the opportunity to meet him easily and we get to discuss on that level. Judging from who he is in our industry. So the platform took me a step ahead. I was able to talk to people and then launch the platform with my film, Innate Torture. And then I got other films, and I also get the producer of Missing, SK, to also give me her film to put on the platform. So the launch was great because a lot of Cameroonians received the platform with open arms. So I had this question in mind that I was answering. You people produce films. Where can we watch these films that you people produce? So it's only after launch, like 6 months after we launched, I realized that was the wrong question I was struggling to answer. Like where to watch Cameroonian films. It's not a question that we Cameroonian filmmakers or business people are supposed to be answering now, because Cameroonians are supportive. They do watch movies. But now, why should they watch Cameroon films? I think that's the question that I would have been answering then. But then I'd already gone 6 months. We went in 1 year, 6 months, and then we had to put a stop to the platform because I was not now getting the desired result. But I'm thanking God because I was able to generate approximately 600,000 from my film In a Torture because I was very aggressive with the marketing. But other producers gave their films and they were comfortable, they just sat there. But I'll get into people's inbox. This is my film, it's on my platform, come and buy. Some people come and pay the film. Shout out to Atabong Jovet. Atabong, I'm sure that's the name. I think he bought my film for 25,000. I mean, a film that was selling for 1,000 francs. So that's how some people supported the film, supported the platform, and then I was able to generate 600,000 plus for my own film. But there are other producers, those that were lazy. Some people made 15, 50, 100K. So when I withdrew the money for the first batch and distributed their monies, I saw that, okay, things are now becoming slow. And I cannot continue to hope on this. I'm looking at the next phase. So I don't want to disclose the next phase because I tried the next phase and upon launch, another platform, Film Room, came. No, before Film Room, there was Go Bantu that was launched after Daphne's, and then there was CM Flix. There was CM Flix that was launched. Fortunately for me, CM Flix by Mr. Chile is a platform that I knew because we did some work for Biggie together and we shared a space where we shared ideas. So CM Flix came, Go Bantu came. Those ones did not really perform well because they went out of the market sooner. But then, now the game changer for the industry that people believed that was going to create a lot more effect came, which was Film Room by my other brother, Mr. Musi. I get emotional when I'm talking about this Film Room application. Well, let me not get into that side of the story. But then Film Room came and people received Film Room. But it still met the same challenges that Daphne's met. Because these challenges will always be there. And unless people that have tried streaming platforms come together to say, okay, I face this, I face this, I face this, let's try to do something. If another person comes with another platform in Cameroon, it will still not work. Not because Cameroonians are not supportive, but because of the way we went about it. You know, Cameroonians love movies. Cameroonians want to watch these movies. But now, we are creating these platforms. Good enough for me. I think my platform was a little bit sustainable for 1 year, 6 months. I think that's the longest any platform has gone in Cameroon. I think it's apart from Soul Africa that is coming back now. I think we're a little bit sustainable because I get fresh films that were, though they were short, I shot my film. Nobody has ever watched the film before. I used it to start the platform. There was in 72 hours. An advocacy film by my friend Achiri Victor that was making waves around Africa. And then there was I Want Nag Your Kanda, the myth, I Want Nag Your Kanda film. So the platform had those films that people actually wanted to watch at the time. So it was able to get people to watch and then we generate some money and stuff like that. But away from all of that, if you want to create a platform now, you must be able to get a film like The Planter's Plantation on the platform for Cameroonians to jump on your platform. But now, if you are able to get the plan, because at now, to be able to get, even if it's a non-exclusive deal with the Planter's Plantation, you will not go less than maybe like 100 million, considering the worth of the film. You will not go less than 100 million. So if you get the 100 million to invest in that film, how sustainable is that film going to be like? How many subscribers are going to come and stay? Because you've had the film, yes, it's going to draw attention. But now, how many people are you going to keep? And to keep them, you need content as good as the planter's plantation. So that's where the challenge comes in. But now, Cameroonians have a defect with receiving our films not because of their making, but because of a mindset. Yes, we have a mindset and an identity problem when it comes to our film industry, especially the audience. Now, this is because of positioning. You know, if a regular person on the street, no, if a filmmaker in Cameroon, a filmmaker that has been in the industry for at most 8 years, if they ask the filmmaker that, just close your eyes and I'm going to describe a character. Maybe describe a woman in her early 50s that is very wicked in films, and each time you think of a wicked role in a film, you're thinking about that woman. I bet you will not think of any Cameroonian. But it will be easy to pick names from different places. You know why? Because of positioning. We grew up watching these films. And these films created a pattern in our minds. Each time I want to watch a film, I have a person that I want to see. If they say, okay, it's a wicked role, I already know the people that play wicked roles in films. So why are you showing me something else? Okay, if they say, I want to see an occultic film, I already know the people that play those occultic roles. I know the pattern. How should I relate to a film that a puller is being an occultist in it? How do I relate to that film? So it is not their making that they are appreciating films from outside than what we are producing. Now the thing is, we have to put these films, we have to push it to them. To the point where you have to see the people in these films over and over again, where you get used to our filming patterns, our language, their faces, and all of that. You know, in Cameroon, yeah, no disrespect to anybody, but there is just like 3 Cameroonian filmmakers, or let me say actors, that can go on the street and 1 or 2 people will say, oh, I know this person. Truth be told, you know, I wouldn't want to call names, definitely, but until we get to a point where people have seen the face over and over and they are able to identify this face, we'll still struggle this much with external content. Now, how do we get to solve all of these problems? You know, these are external things that come in play, especially with the advent of the media, where people can just go on YouTube and then watch films. People can subscribe to Netflix and other platforms and watch these films. So what is the future of our own industry? It is not this current generation. It is not the generation from 10 years ago. It's the generation from nursery school that we have to start working on at the moment. Now, if we are able to get TV channels like CRTV, Canal Plus to show exclusively Cameroonian films to those children that do not have money to pay Netflix subscription, that do not have the time to go to cinemas to watch films, cannot get phones for Netflix, we show them these films. They grow up to know our faces. They grow up to understand the language that we speak in our films. They grow up to see this pattern. When they grow up, you see it has a multiplier effect in the future. But currently, the present generation cannot solve this problem. Because first, we have the opportunity to see the best. Production value wise, we don't produce the best. So I know the best. Why should I stick to what is not up to what my mind tells me that this is what you should be watching? It is not an insult to us, but that's the truth. Production wise, we are not yet there. But of course, we have amazing films that we produce year in, year out that have international recognition. So, but then why don't we make money from it? I always get back to that point. Why don't we sell? That's a very tricky question, because there is no general rule for you to be able to become a filmmaker. Just like the religious side, you need a calling to be able to become a pastor. I think filmmaking is a calling to people that stick to it, because there are times when you become a filmmaker, there are times that you say, I'm not doing this anymore, but you still find yourself going back to it. So becoming a filmmaker to me, I think it's a calling. Well, you can learn to become one. You can actually grow. Somebody can actually just pick you up from somewhere and say, "Come and do this," you know. So, but I think there's really no modality that I know that is said that okay, this is what you must do to become a filmmaker. Just pick a camera and start filming. If not the best, we have very beautiful stories in Cameroon. It is no joke that we are called Africa in miniature, and so people even extend it to call us the continent. However, we have beautiful stories that are yet to be told, and I want to judge the stories that are being told currently that they are not the best of what we have, but they are the best of what we can do now. This is because we still have a lot of limiting factors that hover around our production. Like you cannot just freely film in Cameroon, you know, and unless you have somebody that will lead you to be able to get a permit, you know. I just recently did a film in Bamenda. I think we had like 6 permits on set. Yes, we had like 6 permits. We had a permit from the Joe, permit from we had like 6 permits to be able to film, and we're not able to get one. Why? Because we are filming in Bamenda. So there are these beautiful stories that you want to tell them, because the natural thing that people feel like it's a limiting factor generally, it's finance. But finance is just one of them. I personally think that finance is the least of the limiting factors, because if you really want to do a film, you do a film. Even if you don't have money, you will do a film if you want to do the film. That's my belief. Now, to be able to do film, the stories that we have around us, beautiful stories, but we are not telling them because we are limited. But I tell you for true that we still have beautiful original stories in Cameroon that are yet to be told. We still have our history that is not documented through film, that people don't know about, you know, from the 1960s that we got separated and all of that. When we come back together in 1961, we still have all of those stories that are not being told. We still have our beautiful culture that is not being told, you know. But I think the limiting factors that surround you filming come in play, and then finance too is a problem. So yes, we do have amazing stories. But now when it comes to Cameroonians not relating to the stories, currently we have amazing stories. I think I went out of the way with that question. But currently we have amazing stories like the Planters Plantation. It's a very, very good story. It talks. I've been privileged to watch the film as a jury for LFC Award. So it has a very beautiful story. I think I did not mention that when I was talking about my introduction. The Planters Plantation is a very beautiful story that touches neo-colonialism, which is something that we rarely touch in Cameroon. You know, neo-colonialism, power struggle between the poor and the rich, and all of that. So that's a story that we are yet to witness its beauty. But now, how do we get Cameroonians to watch this film? We always come back to the big question. Or why should Cameroonians watch this film? You know? Because the Planters Plantation is a success. Shout out to the director, Estin Young Jr., and his co-producer, Irene Nangi. So that's a very beautiful film. And equally, we've had films, Fisherman's Diary, that really did well internationally. Of course, it's on Netflix. People can get to search Fisherman's Diary on Netflix and watch. So it's a beautiful story. But generally, we still have beautiful stories that are yet to be told. Well, I think that I have a very unique style of telling my story based on the kind of films I watch. And let me just go generally, and how I get to the point of filming. The first question I ask a producer when they approach me to direct a film from them is the objective of the film. Like, the objective helps me open my mind to what we are about to do. If it's a film, if you're targeting festivals, uh, if the story does not reflect a story that festivals can, because of course there are festival stories, there are commercial stories. So if and there are advocacy stories, if the story is one that has a different way that it's supposed to go, but you are looking at something else, help us to see into it. But now, when I actually pick up a story that, okay, we are now good to go, let's film. All right. I think the biggest work for me is before filming. Doing my breakdown, doing my storyboard, and then going to the location. After scouting, going to the location to actually see what I'll be doing. And then I think when I go on set now, especially with a crew that I've never worked with, like I recently did a film titled Maya. It's an advocacy film on domestic violence produced by Achiri Victor. I worked with a crew that I've never worked with before, and it's always challenging for me to get to work with a crew like that. But for me, it's what I always do is the first day is always a very relaxed day. But what I know is that the director's energy drives the set. I know that the director's energy drives the set. If you're a director that your energy is low, the tempo on the set is going to be low. If you're lazy, your set is going to be lazy. But when I go on a new set, like the one I mentioned, I was very, very low on the first day because I needed to understand people, their temperaments, how they work, because people work differently. So I needed to understand that. When I now get all of that, it's easy now to know how to tell maybe you, the DP, that, okay, this is the kind of shot that I want. Or maybe if you're suggesting, I know how we'll discuss the light, sound, all of that. So I think I have a very accommodating spirit with my directing. I believe that a director single-handedly does not make a film. He holds the creative vision. But of course, there are other opinions from people which you're not obliged to take. But of course, it's important to listen when people give contributions. So I have a very accommodating way of going about it. Okay, the most important thing for me is rehearsals. A lot of people do not value rehearsals. Well, especially actors, actors that think that they have been acting and they already know that, yes. So they don't see rehearsals as important, but I think that rehearsals is very important. And also, especially in our Cameroonian milieu, where you as the director that has the creative vision, and it's always difficult to get a producer that is going to give you an acting coach on set, where you'll not get to bother about their performances, you just focus on the creative part of it. You have to incorporate now their performances in what you're doing. So I think basically the first thing that I do with what I do, even whether it's a short film or it's a feature film, is that we talk about your character even before we go on set. We discuss your character, we discuss the story to understand that you understand this concept of the story. Because once you understand the concept of the story, now, do you understand the relevance of your character to that story? If you understand that, okay, I'm the protagonist, what is my goal? Now, my goal is this, how does it help the story? Now, I'm a support. What is this goal of that support? Now, we discuss all of those things. Discuss your goal, discuss, okay, maybe we are going to be filming this scene. This is the emotion that I want. So I have that discussion with them. So that I know when we go on set, because I'm not the director that we want you to act based on me showing you an example by actions. I explain till you understand. Probably if I want you to get angry, I will not be angry to show you that this is how to get angry, because you probably want to imitate my style of getting angry. So when I go on set now, I probably leave them. I only guide them to give me the emotions that I want them